Okay. Okay, so hi, we are here with Colin and Elisabeth. And those of you who read on AO3 know that Elisabeth is a fanfic writer. So Elisabeth, I'll let you tell me a bit about your fanfic first.
Yeah, I'm Begonia Rex on Archive of Our Own, and I'm currently writing A Lily for Tora.
Yes, and it is awesome, and I highly recommend it. And I'll probably link it if I remember, hopefully, in the comments. So Colin and Elisabeth, why don't you tell me a bit about yourself, just whatever you want to, age, location, whatever you feel like saying.
Why don't you? Yeah,
sure. So we live in Minneapolis, Minnesota. We've been married for about 7.5 years. We're both huge nerds. That's kind of how we connected on comic books, video games, sci-fi and fantasy. Mm-hmm. He's gotten me super into board games.
Yep, there's a Star Wars poster over your
right,
head. Yep.
Right there.
Yep.
Cool. Awesome. Okay, so now, Colin, the rest of the questions are going to be for you. And Elisabeth, it'll be great to see your visuals as well. So Colin, when did Elisabeth start reading Midnight Poppyland? And on a scale of like 1 to 10, how obsessed is she?
How long ago was probably, I mean, time, my sense of time is bad now, obviously, but like probably a couple months, at least 3. And high, like, like 8 out of 10 or 9 out of 10 obsessed, somewhere in there.
Yeah, I honestly probably give it a 10 out of 10. I think anyone who writes fan fiction is a 10.
Yeah.
And do you read Midnight Poppyland?
I do not.
Okay. Do you hear about Midnight Poppyland from Elisabeth? Like, what's your level of discussion?
I do, but most of my context is actually bouncing off of, or the ideas that she bounces off me for the fanfic. So it means that I know what she wants to establish about them for the thing, but then I also know things that don't actually exist, that only exist in her fic, or things that are hinted at in her fic, but not like, I haven't really ever read any of it myself, so like I can't.
That's interesting.
The rest of it is not a lot.
I wonder if when I ask you about the characters, if you'll give me answers that are more related to the fiction rather than the comic.
Maybe, I don't know.
Okay, we'll find out. So if you had to give a summary of Midnight Poppyland, like, could you do it? What is Midnight Poppyland about?
Okay, so I really only know anything about the 2 main characters, who would be Tora and Poppy. There is something there, and it's, so far it appears that it's been mostly them meeting, and then kind of the like, I mean, the very like romance genre, like kind of sticking and unsticking and sticking and unsticking, and more detailed than that I can't really do. There's a plot about a journal and some bushes.
Very good.
I didn't even know you knew that part.
Yeah, you've definitely talked like that, because that was like something at the start, I think.
Yeah.
And then, so somewhere at the start, there's a journal and some bushes, and that's like somehow how the catalyst to them meeting. But the rest of it is, I couldn't tell it chronologically, probably not, because.
Do you know more about Tora?
Oh yes. Okay. So he is a like kind of dark-haired, kind of tall, dark, and handsome type with gold eyes. Is very important. Poppy is a little on the shorter side. Wears a lot of like flowers and like prints of various kinds, I think.
Okay.
I don't actually remember what she does. He has something to do with the mafia.
Good. That's good.
And you've talked a lot about, well, not a lot, but some about his relationship with Quincy, who is also related to the mafia and also writes romance novels or something.
Very good. Awesome.
Oh.
That's it.
Wow, that's way
all
more
done.
than
Tapped out.
Good. Well, you've answered some of the questions that come with the character questions, so it's awesome. So what is Elizabeth like when she reads Midnight Poppyland? What's her routine and what's her like live reaction like?
Usually at sometime in the evening on Fridays, she gets really quiet and looks at her phone for like half an hour. Well, maybe not that long, 15 minutes.
More, yeah, more than the half an hour side.
15 minutes to half an hour. And she doesn't get like super outwardly excited, but like definitely like even if we're doing something else, we'll often like kind of like scoot away and be like, oh, it's out, and like, and then scroll, and then I'm pretty sure that she rereads it at some point, like again during the weekend, but at a more opportune time than right when it comes out. And then sometimes she gets excited or starts having ideas as to how it's going to interact or influence her fanfic too.
Oh, cool. Do you ever hear any like, I know you said she's more quiet. Is there any ever like emotional outbursts?
Not super often, but sometimes. But
Okay.
usually it's not super intense. Usually it's like, ooh, like a very more thinky kind of like getting into it rather than like a flailing and and dancing around kind of thing.
Yeah.
So Elizabeth, does this jive up? Like how many times do you read it?
So I fast pass. So I'm usually like, oh, it's late. So he'll know if it's late because I'm just like, oh, it's not out yet.
And apparently the Discord has memes around what happens when it's late.
The Facebook group.
Or the Facebook. Okay, yes.
Yes. So I'll read it through really quick and then I immediately go back and reread it at least once, sometimes twice if it's pretty like meaty. But yeah, I'll usually reread it the next day.
Oh, and the other thing is you get excited when you know a big drop is happening free because of the fast pass.
Oh yeah, for the people who like don't fast pass and I'm like, ugh.
They're like, oh, they're gonna kiss or something bad's gonna happen or whatever, and like
Yep.
you know to be on the lookout for whatever explosion is gonna happen in the group.
That's funny because the two things you mentioned, they're gonna kiss and something bad's gonna happen. I mean, like you and I could probably list the exact episode number. Like those are the two points that 35 and 39, right? That we were, looking with concern at the non-fast passers.
Yeah.
So here's another question. Are you jealous of Tora?
Not necessarily. It seems, for one thing, he does not seem to be the same kind of person that I am, so it's not like we're like competing. It's like, yeah, I don't think you'd go after like possibly violent mafia, like cold, sometimes distant people. Like that seems like an interesting like romance thing to have, but maybe not like an interesting romance story to have, but maybe not an interesting romance to experience.
I like that. I think, what do you think, Elizabeth?
Yeah, no, that's very true. He's definitely more my type.
Yeah. I know I say this on the podcast a lot. Like, I don't think Tora and I would like get along. I mean, definitely more now than I guess when I was younger. Because like my husband's very, very different. He's like a sweetie pie. But yeah, like I think for a lot of us, Colin, what you said is right. Like it's a romance fantasy thing. It's someone that we wouldn't necessarily click with in real life or be even like feel safe around, you know?
Well, and I think that's, I mean, I don't know the comic side of him as well, but like it's very clear to me that the side that Elizabeth has written in the fanfic is like he is a different person, or he has changed a lot through through having a family, and so he is like I think she has imagined him having gone and like healed a lot or changed a lot through all of that stuff, and so like he seems like a lot more warm and a lot like very present with his family and like just kind of yeah, it seems very different from anything that it sounds like he is in the comic.
Yeah, I agree. I like that assessment. So another question. Do you know what the $5 Patreon tier is? I'm not sure, Elizabeth, if you're part of it or not.
Oh, like what? I'm sure you've mentioned it once, but I don't actually remember what you do, what you get there. Oh, is that picture? Is that special pictures? Is that what we're talking about?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. I didn't know that was
special pictures.
I didn't. Yes, very specific special pictures. I didn't know that was locked. What the dollar amount was locked behind, but it makes sense to me that it'd be a $5 Patreon.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, if you want to, have you noticed it have an effect on your life? Like maybe if you want to tell us.
Not really. I have neither seen nor explored any of those smuttier like pictures of it, because those are the official ones, right?
Those are from the author.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Because I'm guessing there's probably also fan art that's can go in that direction, but you seem not as interested in that.
Yeah.
I'm really into the fanfic, so.
Yeah.
Oh yes, there's plenty of stuff going on in the fanfics too.
Yes.
Okay. So ready for some picture time? Not
Sure.
those pictures. The character pictures.
Right. Well, yeah, sure.
Okay, I'm gonna share my screen, and basically I'm gonna show you a whole bunch of images, and they're in order of like more common to more obscure, and let's see if you know who they are and what you can tell us about them. Okay, so this is a little bit of a interesting one. So who is this?
I mean, it doesn't really look like Poppy. So, and the way that it's written or the way that it's drawn makes me guess it's the author.
Awesome.
That's,
yeah.
A lot of times authors tend to draw themselves in like the chibi and then not in the actual style of their own like comics. So
Yeah, good guess. I can tell you're familiar with, you know, the cartoon like norms.
yeah.
Yep, that's Lily Dusk. That's her name.
Oh, right. Yes.
Okay, so remember, it goes in order of easy to less
Right.
than.
So this is definitely Poppy.
Yep. Yeah, and you already described it before, so I think we're good with that. Next one should be pretty easy too.
Yeah. Altman's Tora. Wait, we haven't even talked about tattoos either. Actually, that might come up on a later podcast.
Yeah. I didn't actually talk about the tattoos here. I don't have any like specific questions, but if you want to talk about his tattoos and let us know what you know about them, feel free. Like if you want to show off your specific tattoo knowledge, if you have any.
Yeah, I just know that there's I mean you can see that there's one on each arm, and I think they're like full sleeves, or at least most sleeves. And I know there's some in his legs, but they don't show up very much, so nobody knows what they are.
We have seen part of it.
Okay, well, I don't know what it is. And one sleeve is flowers, and the other sleeve, I mean, you can see is koi in that picture. That's pretty much all I know.
Okay. Do you happen to know what they come from, maybe?
No. I mean, they seem like very traditional, like either Japanese or something similar Asian. And I know that Japanese culture tends to, at least in Japanese culture, tattoos tend to be kind of very strongly associated, really only associated with organized crime, that nobody else has them. And so, or traditionally nobody else has them. That's changing, but so it likely has to do with his organized crime.
So yeah, Yakuza, yes. And the specific meaning, there's actually Lily Dusk has a different cartoon where she features like this ancient Nerian like king and princess.
Oh, I've heard
and
about this.
Yeah, like they're both basically, Tora is a descendant of that couple, and I think the penis was on Uon and the koi fish was on Yua. I kind of forget that, but it's from both of them. Okay, next character. Who is this guy?
I don't know, but my guess is that since they're going in an order, the next person that I've heard the most about is Quincy. So best guess is Quincy.
Yep, very good. So can you tell us who Quincy is?
He is, Tora is his bodyguard.
Mhm.
Quincy is the son of someone important in the mafia, and and he likes their relationship, and so he tries to do relationship things. He tries to encourage their relationship.
Very good. I think I give you full credit for this one.
Yeah.
Okay. And who is this guy with the blue hair?
Blue hair.
Oh, we were just talking about this at dinner.
I still don't think I'm gonna remember who it was.
I just brought him up. Like, we were literally talking about my next fanfic chapter.
Oh my gosh, it's so exciting. I get a sneak peek.
Next chapter has I don't want to give all the things away in your chapter, but I can't remember any of this.
Don't worry, it won't be published. The chapter will be published before this video, I'm pretty sure. So.
Oh, there's no spoilers, don't worry.
I do not know.
Elizabeth, you can give it a hint.
Goliath.
Oh, right. We were just literally talking about this.
Like 20 minutes ago.
Yeah. Yep.
So who is Goliath, Colin? Do you remember that?
We don't know. But people think that he might be related to Tora because he has yellow eyes, and that's it.
Yep.
That's all I know.
Pretty good. Do you know like anything about
20
maybe what
minutes
he did
ago.
to
I know.
Tora?
His name.
What was that?
Do you know like maybe anything about what he did to Tora?
Oh, no, don't know any of that.
Okay.
I literally just mentioned this half an hour ago.
Well, yeah. So he apparently betrayed Tora to the police. So whether there was a good thing or a bad thing remains to be seen. But he definitely
Right, something in flashbacks. Okay, yeah. Something happened in flashbacks. That's what I know.
Okay, you were getting that much good.
Yeah.
very specific. I like it. Okay, who's this guy?
Ooh, yeah, I do not know.
Okay.
He looks. Okay, wait.
Yeah, try to
wait.
guess. Actually,
I have a guess. I know that Poppy has coworkers, so my guess is Poppy coworker.
okay.
Nameless Poppy coworker.
Could be. Maybe I guess for another one. This happens not to be him. 𝗪𝗪𝗀𝗪 or 𝗪𝗪𝗀 ring a bell?
No.
Okay, so he's one of Tora's friends. He works for the clan. He's the tech guy for the clan, but he's like a good guy.
Did you have a hacker in your? Okay, nope.
Okay, this guy, which I hope from context clues you might be able to get some of it.
Yeah, that looks like whoever Quincy's dad is. I don't know his name though. It might start with an L. Nope. Okay, nope. Don't know his name.
Starts with the V.
Vincent.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
There we go.
Wow.
Nice. So yeah, what made you guess that that's Quincy's dad?
The lighter hair color is the same as Quincy's, who I've never seen before.
Yep.
So that's the connection, and then he's obviously dressed like a very rich guy.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's Vincent. He's the mafia leader for the Poppyland clan, and yeah, the guy who basically trained Tora to being a weapon.
Right.
Bad guy. Okay, who's this lady?
Okay, my guess is that she works at this either store or bar, whatever counter she's working behind.
Okay. What kind of role do you think she plays? Well, if you had to divide them into good or bad, what would you say?
Good or bad? My guess is good, but I do not know.
Hey, don't look at me. I'm not giving you help.
My guess is good, but I don't know.
You got the good. Any kind of guess on what kind of person she is? What kind of role she would play in this comic, maybe?
Okay, so the robe and but I can't tell whether this is a boa or whether it's like a collar for color. Indicates to me, without seeing more, either someone who is I'm in the dark here, wandering around. She's smoking. She has kind looking eyes, which is why I guessed good.
Aw.
And her being older means that she's probably a either a mentor figure to someone or a like an owner or like landlady or something, someone who is in charge of someone's livelihood or something. That's my guess.
Okay, I think they're both correct. She is an owner of a restaurant, and Tora worked for her when he was a teenager, and she definitely played a mentor role in his life. So you're right.
Okay.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Good job. And her name is Alice, by the way.
Or sake granny.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Elizabeth can explain why.
I mean, yeah, I can guess half of it.
Okay, who's this guy?
He looks like either a security person or a police officer. Probably security. He appears to be at the same restaurant that the granny was at.
Yes, very good.
And he doesn't look evil. He looks kind and maybe not super smart.
Okay.
That's all I got.
I think that's really good. It is at the same restaurant, and he is a police officer, and he is the son of Alice. So he also was a mentor to Joe. Sorry, his name is Joe. He was also a mentor to Tora. He was in a clan when he was younger, and he seems to be dead now. So probably under tragic circumstances as well. But we'll find out one day.
Is this sepia toned due to flashback? Is that what's going on? Okay.
It's a flashback, actually. Yeah. Anything with Joe, right, is a flashback. So
that's who their son is named after.
Right.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. And who is this gal with the purple hair?
Clearly a friend of Poppy's. I'm guessing a more outgoing friend who probably also encourages their relationship.
Okay, that's good. Definitely outgoing. She doesn't really know about Tora and Poppy yet, but she probably will encourage it when she gets there, because she encourages Poppy's romantic life in general, and she's her coworker.
Okay.
Yep, and her name is Erdine. Okay, good guess. And next one, this guy.
Okay, it looks like they're at a school. But it isn't necessarily or an office. It doesn't look like it's necessarily a flashback, so this is probably a coworker or something.
Okay, very good. You're really good at guessing through context clues. That is her coworker, Jacob. Yep, and he kind of also provided like a helping eye when Tora was at Poppy's apartment. She had him just check on him with the webcam.
Okay.
Yep.
Was this when he was sick, or is this a different time?
Different time.
Okay, and who's this guy? Now his face is obscured, so
his face is obscured. Also in an office environment, face is obscured though, which is not usually a good sign, depending on so I'm guessing maybe a rival or somebody at her work.
Good. He's at our work, and you're right, he does have some nefarious overtones, especially with the dark toned office, which is usually pretty bright. So he's your boss, and there's some shady stuff going on, and we're not quite sure what, but it has to do with the notebook.
Is he always obscured, or is there like...
No, he's not always obscured.
Okay.
But in this particular set of panels, he is.
Yes.
Okay. This young lady, or lady.
Maybe another coworker. I can't tell. Yeah, my guess is another one of Poppy's coworkers.
Okay, she's a police officer, and her name is Lane. She is someone that Poppy went to report her after Tora took a picture of her on the train. She went to report to her, and she also has called Tora at some point, and we don't know why.
Okay.
We have our suspicions, but we don't know.
Yeah, I've never mentioned this part.
This
to you,
is
so.
yeah. I don't know anything about this part.
They get like more, less screen time as we go on. Okay, this guy.
Is this Joe's dad?
Oh, I can see why you would say that.
That's my guess.
Some resemblance. But
Yeah.
no, this is actually a guy named Mr. Lamb. Does that ring a bell?
Maybe. Wait. What was the name?
Mr. Lamb.
No, it doesn't ring a bell.
Okay. So Mr. Lamb is a guy that Poppy is trying to submit a proposal to because she wants him to sign on with her publishing company to complete his wife's novel. And she wants the novel. The novel is something that will be completed by Quincy.
Okay, so is he like the big account at work? Okay, he's the big account at work. Got it.
Yeah. Okay, and this guy, I think this, yeah, it gives you there's some context clues in the picture.
Yeah, the context clue makes me think Poppy's brother.
Maybe some people guess that
Maybe?
it's not her brother.
Okay. Related to Poppy though?
Yeah.
Cousin?
Nope.
So her dad?
Yep. That's her
Okay.
dad.
Yep.
Yeah,
And
this is a flashback.
Well, yeah, I can kind of tell it's a flashback, but
yeah,
it's not clear to me what age she is.
Oh, yeah.
younger.
Yeah.
It's this whole symbolic piece with the butterfly, and it then flies back to the present with Torah. So yeah, there's a whole bit of like protective symbolism there. Okay, this person.
He seems mafia related, is my guess.
Yeah.
But I don't know any other characters that are in the mafia, so another mafia member of some kind is my guess.
Yeah, so we don't know yet exactly. This person's name is Cordelia, and she's gender nonconforming, which is why like it's hard to tell. But yeah, we don't know what Cordy is yet, but there's probably something shady about her. So you're not wrong in that. Okay, and this person.
This seems we're getting into the background minor characters, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
What kind of person do you think she is? I mean, just from what how she's portrayed.
My guess is, so from background clues, she's either at like a nightclub or at a police station.
Because of the red and blue.
Because the red and blue lights. But looks more, yeah. If my guess is a nightclub, my guess would be like another patron or something at the restaurant is my guess. She doesn't really look like a waitress or anything, or anybody who works there.
So nightclub is close. She's an exotic dancer.
Okay.
At Club Miracle, which is the 𝗏𝗏 club. So yeah.
Okay.
And okay, well, we'll leave that at that. Okay, this guy. I don't think you'll be able to get them.
Nope.
His name's Benjamin.
Benjamin. It looks like Poppy's not having an extremely good interaction with him, so stalker.
I can see why you would say that. She does look stiff and nervous. He's actually he's somebody that she recruits to help her kind of save Mr. Lamb, and he ends up featuring more in the story later. But we'll leave it at that. Okay, we're getting really obscure here. I doubt you'll know this person.
Okay, so he doesn't have the eyes, which is, I guess, a non-family then clue. Again, this looks like fellow mafia member of some sort.
You are good at like the visual cues.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. He is a fellow mafia member. His name is Claude. And yeah, okay, perfect. This guy.
Based on based on tattoos alone, a fellow mafia member.
Yep. Good, bad.
Probably more on the bad side is my guess.
Yep.
Because of facial expression, not because of the tattoo.
Mm-hmm. Yep, you're correct. His name is Shark, and he's the guy who kidnapped Mr. Lamb over here, planning on killing him. So bad guy, psychopath, actually, apparently. Okay, this guy.
Oh. Looks like we're back at the nightclub.
Correct.
So, my guess would be a patron at the nightclub. It's either a patron or like owner, I guess.
Okay, so I mean, he's definitely patronizing the nightclub at that moment. He's
Yeah.
another clan member. His name is 𝗙𝗵𝗻, and he's the clan accountant. And there's some really good fan fiction with him, just so y'all know. Written by
Where do
Celeste.
people fanfic him?
It's called, I have not read all of it, but it's called 𝗙𝗵𝗻's Night Out.
Oh,
Apparently it's very smutty.
okay.
All right. Totally. Okay, this is the last one, and it's the bonus. Yes, and I do it for that reaction. The bonus readers know.
Now I'm gonna guess nightclub owner because he looks like someone who'd own a nightclub.
Well, you're picking up onto something. In the comic, he features as a guy whose car Tora jacks, but he also is in the Patreon, and he appears in a different context over there, which I'm not going to reveal because it's Patreon content. But those who know.
Yeah,
Okay.
very minor character.
Oh, okay.
He's very minor in the comic, but he's very memorable to us who read the Patreon.
It's very yelly.
Yeah, when he showed up, I was like, oh, that guy.
His name is Aniki.
Mhm.
Okay, so now I'm going to ask you about 7 words, and let's see if you have any association with them.
Okay.
Tiger.
Okay, so that's Tora's name. Tora is translated into this tiger translated into Japanese. Yeah.
Woohoo, awesome. Score 1. Strawberries.
My guess is Poppy, but I don't know why.
Okay, pretty good. Tora and Poppy possibly met when they were kids, or when Poppy was a kid and Tora was a teenager. And Tora's love of strawberries and strawberry juice may have come from that, because she was drinking strawberry juice as a kid.
It's not confirmed. It's not confirmed yet.
Yeah. It's a theory, but
But he does drink a lot of strawberry juice.
Okay.
and Poppy gives him her strawberry hair tie, which is so cute.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, next word, avocado.
Nope, I don't know that. Well, okay. Isn't one of the groups called like the Avocado Club or something?
The Discord.
The Discord is called the Avocado Club.
No, it's called the Avocado Advocates.
Okay.
You know why
That's-
it's called the avocado?
That's all I know.
Okay, pretty good. So when Poppy is Googling the Ball Even organization, when she first finds out the name, you see on her search history, she was Googling some kind of avocado advocacy club. And her profile picture for her messages is a hula hooping avocado.
Oh, okay.
So it's kind of like showing her, her innocence compared to Tora's not innocence. Okay, next word, hamster.
Ooh, hamster. Do you think I know this one?
You might, because it does show up in the fic a little bit, and you've probably read it, but you might not remember.
Is it a pet name for Poppy or something?
Whoa, very good.
Ah,
You got it.
Because I know that, okay, because she was going through a bunch of pet names for the kids, and so that's my best. That was my connection.
Very good. Tora
Yeah.
calls her a cute little hamster because she is.
Ah, okay.
a feisty hamster.
Oh.
Awesome. Okay. Red pin.
So not the strawberry pin?
Not the strawberry hair tie, no.
Oh. No, but there's something about her hairpin that she we were just talking about this like a couple days ago, right? Where
Mm-hmm.
you were talking about details that there's a pin that we're tracking that was like stolen or whatever. There's some kid that has it now, and we're trying to figure out where it is and where it's going.
Yep. You
That's all
got
I
it.
know.
That's right. Perfect. Red pin. It's Poppy's pin. It may have mafia connections. It may be from her mom. We don't know, but yes, everything you said is correct. Good job.
Yeah.
Okay. Jackfruit.
Nope. Oh, wait, your reaction is giving me clues.
Elizabeth, you want to explain it?
My guess,
Okay.
due to your reaction, my guess is it is a fan code word for something.
It is a fan code word. For something.
Okay, refined guess. It's for art?
Art?
No. Fan art?
No.
Okay, no. Then I don't know.
Although there is a lot of fan art of this thing that it symbolizes.
Okay.
So I'll tell you the story. Poppy Tora throws his sweater at her after he takes a picture of her and her shirt rips open. Poppy wears the sweater, walks around with it, smells it. She's like, "What is this smell? What does this smell?" She smells it, and then she realizes that she like really likes the smell, and she like realizes that she's basically smelling Tora, and she like gets all embarrassed. And later on, when she meets kind of Tora again for the first time, she tells him, "Yeah, I can smell just like I could smell your Jack." And then she gets embarrassed because she doesn't want to admit that she like was sniffing his jacket. She was like, "Jackfruit."
Jackfruit.
And he's kind of like, I've never heard of what that is.
Yeah.
I'm assuming.
Nobody walked around sniffing people's jackfruit. So anyways, the jackfruit is now like kind of a stand-in for something else.
Yep.
But okay, and the last word, gray sweatpants.
He was sick, right? And he was wearing gray sweatpants.
Yeah.
That's all I know. He was sick. Tora was sick and was wearing gray sweatpants.
Very
when he was
good.
sick.
Good. Has Elizabeth requested that you wear gray sweatpants?
No.
Okay.
Not really my thing.
Okay. And now, so the last question in general, this is like, not necessarily funny, just like, how has Midnight Poppyland changed your lives? Elizabeth's life, your life?
Is this for both of us or for me first?
You.
You first.
Me first. Okay. So, I mean, on one hand, it means that pretty much every discussion that I have right when I get home from work is about her fic.
Yeah.
Or Midnight Poppyland in general, which isn't, something like that probably would have happened because you were getting into fanfic just like she was starting to write fanfic just a little bit before she really got into MPL, and so it probably would have been about something fanfic related. It just has ended up being this one because one thing that's very clear, even if it does end up being everyday learning, finding talking about it, like it's very clear that it's a strong creative outlet for Elisabeth that she has been needing or wanting lately, and so it's been really good in that sense. And it's been good in that we've been talking a lot more about stories and story structure, which is a thing that I was already interested in. Now it's just much more often in the context of Midnight Poppyland or of your fic in some capacity. Although we've been able to kind of break out from that sometimes too and talk about other stuff too.
Yep.
Because of using the tools that, that you've been thinking about and talking about for the fic. Yeah.
It's very cool. I have to say, I talk about like storytelling. I think I talk about it a fair amount on the podcast as well, because one of my interests is I hope to like write screenplays and like novels. So I definitely read about storytelling a lot. So I just find it interesting that you're viewing it through that lens, because I definitely see it through that lens as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, Elizabeth, what's Colin's perception? Was it correct?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I wasn't aware that I kind of jump you every time you come home and I'm like, help me.
Or like, I'm really excited and
Yeah.
guess how many new hits there are.
Yeah.
I usually get like at least once a day and sometimes more than once a day and a running update of how many new hits Lily Fedora has.
In the comments.
Yes, yes, and comments.
I
Yes.
do take a little bit of evil pleasure in torturing people.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, we connected over stories. I mean, working in a bookstore, I was surrounded by books and we both love reading. So it's been really fun to like connect over such a deep story. And because there's like so much to dig into. I mean, we've used it as like, I'll mention something from the comic and then we kind of use that as a jumping board into another discussion. And like, I mean, Lily Dusk is amazing with like just the layers that she's putting and the way that she like subverts tropes. Cause like, it's not just like, oh, tall, dark and brooding bad boy and like completely naive, innocent girl. Like there's all these layers that make it really fun to like talk about and write about and like discuss. And even like a lot of the themes about like trauma and you know, dealing with loss and dealing with grief and dealing with traumatic life experiences. Like, I mean, I forget the exact episode number, like when Tora said like, we can't see each other anymore. And then the discussion they had about Poppy's boyfriend, like that was huge. Like we had multiple conversations about that because like, it's so reflected my previous relationship before I met Colin.
Yeah, and yeah, for sure it connected with you personally, and then I also, I mean, MPL is not necessarily my genre, but like I do really like stories where people have really like people end up having these really strong emotions and you see them like interacting with each other then, and so like that, talking about that, like I got just enough context to like, you know, you would fill me in on just enough context to kind of understand what was going on, and then we would talk about like that you think that there's a lot of interesting work that the author is doing in talking about trauma and talking about consent and talking about like things that I think a lot of times fall by the wayside in like romance genre, well, and like just in fiction in general, that if you're creating a romantic story, a lot of people go towards these like, or their minds go towards like the bodice rippers and the like the things where there just isn't a lot of like, there isn't a lot of consideration to the hurt that people have had in the past, and there isn't a lot of consideration to, well, the trauma that would actually be caused by what the main characters are doing to each other. And so in this case, it's like, oh, no, like let's actually explore all that. Not that it's always perfect, but that all of that should be explored because that's what people actually experience. And that seems like a really interesting take on the, and it's why you're not usually a huge romance
No, I'm usually not into romance
person,
that much.
but this one definitely is connected with you.
Yes.
Yeah, I can completely, you know, feel everything you're saying. And I think that's why, you know, sometimes like when I tell people that I am, you know, doing a podcast on a comic, I get the sense that they think that it's trivial. And I'm like, you know me, and you know I would never spend like hours and hours of my life doing something unless it was profound and it had worthwhile content to be discussed. So I completely agree with everything you just said. So I'm a bit late for the next interview, so that's why I'm gonna have to like go. But thank you so much, Colin and Elisabeth, for coming on and for sharing and for answering the questions, and both the funny ones and the serious ones. And it was fascinating. It was great. It was great to meet you both. Great to meet you, Elisabeth, finally. And
yeah, thanks for having us on.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
Thanks for being a good sport.
Yes, thank you. This will definitely be very entertaining and I hope meaningful as well. You know, there's definitely entertaining parts, but you know, Lily does watch everything, you know, and listen to all the podcasts, and I know that she would appreciate everything you guys just said about Midnight Poppyland in general. So I think, you know, thanks for passing the love on.
Yeah.
Well, we love it. I mean, it's been one of the best things to happen this year for me.
Yes.
Yeah. In a year where you need some good things to happen. So yeah.
Yep. Completely. Definitely. It's been the same for me. as I say quite often.
Well, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And yeah, I'll let you know when it's edited, which is not going to be for a while since I've never edited.
Yep.
Never really edited something before.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Bye.
Yeah, thanks so much. Have a good night. Bye.